Hi, I'd like to start by saying welcome and thank you for taking the time out of your day to meet with me. So first I would kind of like to share with you the agenda for the day, and that is to kind of talk about where Juliet is at in her development and where she's headed next. So I want to share the development and learning report with you and some observations that I've taken. So I also would like to see if there are any goals that you have for her and if you have any questions or concerns for me. So first I'd like to ask what Juliet shares with you about school. Okay. Yeah. And what kinds of things does she enjoy doing at home? Yeah, I think she's told me about that. Okay. So is there anything you need to discuss with me today? Okay, yep, I can answer some questions and talk about some things. Okay, so for right now we can get started, and I would like to start with her objectives. So we have, for her development, we have these different domains, and it kind of has objectives for each one and tells us where she is and where she's heading next. So based on the things I have observed, I will share with you how I believe she is developing. And first off, I'd like to start by saying that she is at her age level in each area. So I'm not concerned about any area of her development. So if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. First, I'd like to start with social and emotional, though. She can follow routines and directions and have positive relationships with adults and her peers. She is heading next into working on her emotions and managing them. And so then she'll be able to understand other children's emotions and be able to enter larger groups of children, because right now she's able to enter a group of about 2 or 3 children to play. So an observation I have of this was when she was playing with 2 other children at the train set. She asked them for some trains, they gave her some, and then they thought of ways to change or add to the track. So this is the observation that I took of her in the train set. Next, I'd like to go to the physical domain. And so in this area, she's able to travel without difficulty, balance on a beam, use her fine motor skills when using writing and drawing tools. She can also string beads and use tweezers, so that also works on her fine motor skills. I've observed her also doing dance and movement songs and running and jumping as well. So next in her development, she'll be able to do more complex movements and manipulate objects such as a ball with full range of motion. So the observation I took of this was when she was writing her name, and she used the 3-finger grip when using her pencil. So as you can see right here, this is the observation I have of her using her 3-finger grip when writing her name. So next I'd like to talk about language, and she is able to follow directions, engage in conversation, tell about other times and places. I think next we'll see that she'll be able to use complex vocabulary and sustain longer conversations. An observation I had in this area was when she followed directions and found each shape on her paper and colored them and counted them. So if you can see down here, there's the example I have of that. So her next domain is cognitive. In this area, she's able to engage in dramatic play roles, recall experiences in the order that they happened, classify objects by size, shape, color. She can also stay on task. Next, I believe she'll be able to pursue her own goals, consider possibilities, and analyze results. So she'll kind of be able to guess what will happen based on past experiences. So she will able to also extend her role playing into longer, more complex interactions. So an observation that I have in this area was when she was in dramatic play and she was using the laptop and the phone And she was also using the vet tools because it was a vet's office, and she was taking care of other children's animals with the tools and setting up appointments. So the next area I want to talk about is literacy. She can recognize when words rhyme, identify letters, use books in the correct way, recognize the author and title of a book, interact during story time, retell her own stories, and write her name, of course. Next, I believe she'll be able to recognize syllables of a word and match written and spoken words. And she will also be able to write to tell a story. So an observation of this area was when she was reading a book from left to right in the library. So if you can see down here in this area was when I had her reading a book from left to right. So after literacy, we have mathematics. So in math, she was able to count to 20, connect numbers to quantities. When she counted the shapes, she was able to count how many shapes. So she can understand positional words such as next to or under, create patterns. So the observation that I have for this area was her creating patterns with her colored stickers. So she was able to, not only was she putting the stickers on her letter T, but she was creating patterns of pink, green, and orange, as you can see there. So after that, we have science and technology. So she has a knowledge of living things and the Earth's environment, and she's able to use tools and technology to perform a task. She has knowledge about physical properties of materials. An observation I have of this was when she cut along lines to separate a flower into roots, leaves, the stem, and the flower, and glue them to another paper in the correct order. Later, she also helped plant things in the garden and put them in the dirt and water them. So this is the example I have of her knowing how to put the flower into the correct order. See, she cut on these lines, and then she was able to match them up and glue them back together on a separate sheet of paper. So after that, we have social studies. So she has an understanding of how people live, like what different occupations do or what we do on a daily basis. She has knowledge about herself and explores change related to people or places. So an observation I have of this was when the teacher asked about what day it was, and if it was Monday, what would tomorrow be? And Juliet replied, Tuesday. So next on the arts, she explores art, dance, and movement concepts and drama through actions and language. An observation of this was when Juliet and another classmate were playing teachers. They went to the group time rug, acted out as if they were the teacher, and being the helpers. So those are the domains, the areas of development that we have, and where she's at and where she's headed next. So for goals, I would like to go over what kind of goals that I have made for her. So we have these sheets that tell us about her goals and what we can do to achieve the goals. So first we have the social emotional, and the goal that I have for her would be to manage her emotions. She sometimes has a hard time trying to manage those feelings. So some things that we can do in this area would be to read books about emotions, talk about things that make her feel happy or sad. You could ask her what we could do if she's feeling angry or sad, draw pictures about what she's feeling. And some book suggestions I have for emotions would be Glad Monster, Sad Monster by Ed Emberley, Today I Feel Silly and Other Moods That Make My Day by Jamie Lee Curtis, or How Are You Peeling by Saxton Freeman, which is a cute one because they have fruits and vegetables. They're actual photos of them, but they have the emotions on, so it's a cute one. So for the next one, the goal I have for physical would be catching a ball and using her full range of motion. So to develop that, I think we could plan some gross motor activities or games to work on these skills. We could play catch with her. We could do activities such as dancing and movement to help develop that range of motion. Some song suggestions would be Listen and Move by Greg and Steve, We do that quite a bit at school. Dinosaur Stomp by Cuckoo Kangaroo. I Can Move My Body Like Anything by Jack Hartman, or I'm Going on a Bear Hunt even. So the next one would be language, and the goal I have for that would be to expand her vocabulary, get her to say those words that are tough. So a plan I have for that would be to introduce some new words, label some items, or ask open-ended questions to get her talking. Play word games. Some games suggestions would be magnetic letters. You could do a word bingo, letter words, searches, scrambled words, letter blocks, or matching games. She really enjoys matching stuff. So the next one would be cognitive, and the goal I have for that would be her classification skills. And some plans that I have for this area would be to get her to recognize some different classifications at the same time, because she can classify by size or shape, but I'd like her to be able to do different ones at the same time. So to do that, we could do some sorting games with, of course, the color, size, and shape. We could sort Fruit Loops by color, sort transportation by land, air, or water, sorting pom-poms, or we could do same or different games. So for literacy, the goal I have would be to recognize smaller units of sound, like her syllables. So first we could talk about syllables or play syllable type games. We could also break her name into syllables and have her put it together. That'd be a great way to work on that, so she can understand how you can break words into smaller units. So some games I have would be word separation games, like say spider. You could separate the word into S-P-I-D-E-R, so it's spider. Or you could do phonics bingo, matching games once again, things like that, just to help her understanding of breaking words down into smaller parts. So a goal I have for math would be to compare and measure. So for the mathematics, the goal I have would be comparing and measuring once again. So to help her do that, I would like to get her to measure things and compare them, like putting measuring materials in the classroom, such as a tape measure or thermometer, or even doing that at home. We could measure with children using strings, compare who's taller or shorter, build towers to see who has the tallest. We could set out groups of things and ask her which has more or less. Use words in measuring, such as inches or feet. We could measure water, do recipes, and let her measure the ingredients. That would be a fun one. So those are the kinds of goals that I have for her, and I would like to ask if you had any goals in mind that you would like to see her be able to do. Okay, we could work on that, and do you have any questions or concerns for me? Okay. Well, once again, I would like to thank you for meeting with me. I appreciate you taking the time to come out. It means a lot to share this information with you. And I want to get some insight of how things are going at home as well. I mean, I'm glad I could answer questions and concerns, and it's great to work together with you. And I just really appreciate you coming out today. So, thank you, and I hope to talk to you again soon.